It's fallacious to think that you can ever get away from this cultural war that we're in. I know you want to turn off your brain. I know you want to watch TV shows and movies where you can just sit down and enjoy it. I know. That's how they get you, folks. There's a backdoor kind of messaging that happens. You're watching a movie and you're just enjoying it, and then, you turn it off and say, that was alright, that was pretty good. And a lot of you, not all, if you're the sort of person that listens to me, you're probably not like this, but maybe you are. Maybe even I fall into it sometimes. You fail to notice what they slipped in there. One of the examples I think of all the time is Mad Max Fury Road. And I tell people, that was a pretty feminist movie. And like, I could tell from the trailer, anyway, Charlize Theron. No, I don't mean like that. I don't know. I have nothing against this strong female character who kicks ass. That's not what I mean. If you actually watch it and you pay attention, conduct a kind of content analysis of what you're actually seeing and what's in the plot and the themes and the implications and the little hints and all the rest of it, it's really about how men fucked up the world and now it's women's chance, it's women's turn to live in peace without toxic masculinity, and all they really need is for men to help fix things and then fuck off. Fix the things that you broke, men, and now fuck off. That's really what Mad Max Fury Road is. And you don't catch it. It's a great movie. I love it. The action, it's so visceral and raw and stylish. All things I love. But you still can't completely turn your brain off, otherwise they're gonna slip it in the back door. There's infinite examples of that, okay? But one thing that I want to tell you is one of the messages that we've been bombarded with in this way, that we've been pummeled with, sometimes it's more on the nose and overt, other times it's a lot more subtle, is scientism. Rather, science. Science, the primacy of science. Everything, we can just fix everything with quote-unquote reason, with hardcore logic and science. I'm all for logic. I'm all for analytical thinking. I think a lot of people erroneously conflate science and the scientific method and things like that with being analytical. They're not necessarily the same thing. If you watch 2011's Contagion with Jude Law and a bunch of other people, maybe you didn't notice it, maybe you didn't pick up on it. It is really a big commercial for the CDC and vaccines, right? The vaccine is the big MacGuffin. The vaccine, if we could just get that, everything will be fine. Oh, if you just get the shot, that'll be fine. The reason why this movie isn't promoted more right now, I think, whilst we're going through all of this madness that we're going through, is because it also leverages on herd immunity, or that you can actually just be immune. They don't want that as part of the narrative right now. So they're presenting other things. Have you heard about Songbird? Michael Bay. Wow, there's a lot of money behind this movie. Songbird, about COVID-23. It's not 19 anymore, it's COVID-23. A friend of mine sent this to me and he says, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. Wow, it's about everything that's going on right now. Hardcore lockdowns and oppression and holy shit, James, you gotta check this out. And I watched the trailer and I said, I wonder what it's gonna be about. What do you mean, what's it about? You can see it's about COVID and it mutates and it gets worse and the lockdowns and I can't believe they made this. No, what's it about? What's the narrative gonna be? I bet you what the actual backdoor message is gonna be in that is that vaccine. See, and it can be subtle. It could be like not hitting you over the head with it, as in with Contagion. It's just never even questioned that a vaccine might be problematic. That's never even questioned or on the table. Oh, I just remembered one of the things that is definitely questioned and definitely attacked in Contagion is folk medicine and trying to cure yourself and snake oil and stuff like that. And of course, people will then conflate anything that isn't a vaccine with snake oil. I'm going to come back to that stuff about vaccines and everything. Oh, but isn't it interesting that it's called Songbird? So much of what they do, the people in control, the technocrats, they just lay it right out. They just put it right on the table. They don't even try to hide it. I think they do that because when they implement their plans, they can turn around and claim credit for being prepared. See how prescient we were? We did a roundtable discussion, basically war games. What if there's a horrible epidemic that affects people all over the planet? And they did this tabletop war game type thing, roundtable discussion with all kinds of former and current members of the industrial complex from many different countries. What was it, back in November of last year? And then a month or two later, oh, there's this corona thing going, a new coronavirus. And then a few months after that, global lockdown and all the rest of it. Anyways, they broadcast what they're going to do. I think that's because they're just so smug and they laugh at the fact that they can hide things in plain sight and normies won't catch it, if that's like a test. Or if it's just that they want to take credit. See how smart we are? See how smart the elite are? We actually planned for this before it happened, so you should put your faith in us. The next thing on the horizon is cyber COVID, but I'm not going to get into that, but be ready for that. Millennials, even a lot of us Gen Xers, we can cope with lockdowns because we have the internet. And in fact, we can question things because we have the internet. You're listening to me right now. They'll take that away too. You wait and see. But coming back to this idea of backdoor messaging, I just watched Agora last night. I've been wanting to watch it for ages, and I just found that it's actually on Amazon Prime, surprisingly. By the way, not everything that comes out of Hollywood is poison. Not everything on Amazon is poison. Not everything that is on Netflix is poison. In fact, I'm tempted to do a whole video talking about some of the excellent things that I've seen on Netflix. Anyways, Agora wasn't a Hollywood movie, though. Agora was made Spanish and maybe Irish or something, co-production, I'm not sure. But it wasn't a Hollywood movie. And it's about Hypatia, an amazing, important female philosopher back when philosophy encompassed all science and reason and analytics. And a lot of people will watch that and say, James, how can you like that? It's so anti-religion. I thought you were the guy that kind of sticks up for religion sometimes. Here's the thing. There is no doubt that throughout history, horrible people have done horrible things in the name of religion. That is obviously true. But you'd have to be kind of a dummy. You'd have to be kind of slow-witted, okay, so most people, to think, therefore, all religion bad. This movie doesn't even do that. Agora doesn't even do that because a lot of the good characters who try to do good things, they're Christians. A lot of the good characters are Christians, but the character with the most power is also a so-called Christian, and he does horrible things, and he incites horrible things, and this is historically accurate. It's true. I like the movie because it's historically pretty darn accurate as much as we know about the life of Hypatia, and we do know a lot about the city of Alexandria. Whereas then you get these other things about a strong female character, a brilliant female character. It's good. It's good that at least they're branching out with TV shows and movies where it's not just a feminist message is embodied by a strong female character who kicks ass and beats everybody up and guys that are twice her size. That Mary Sue thing, that's ridiculous. So I started watching Queen's Gambit on Netflix just for fun. A female grandmaster, I'll check it out even if it's fiction. But there's the thing, there's the rub. That's something that really bothers me. If you, mainstream media, if you guys want to promote this feminist stuff and talk about strong female characters in history or strong minority characters in history, then why don't you do that? Why don't you use real historical examples? They existed. A female grand chess master who was American in the 1960s and 70s, sorry, but that didn't exist. So that kind of turned me off of Queen's Gambit. Even though I like that actress, I like the acting, it's rather stylish, it's well shot, it's well put together, it's pretty okay, the writing is okay. But I stopped and I can't keep watching this because she's not real. There was a real female grand chess champion around that, or kind of around that time. Guess where she was from? The Soviet Union. A little old place that I know a lot about because I lived there for a while, Georgia. Anyway, I guess that's kind of an aside, but it kind of pisses me off that there were black people in Europe historically. Yeah, now I'm gonna get the really kind of ignorant so-called conservatives saying, well, fuck you, no way, I don't want black people, it's stupid. You hear about this BBC thing where, they had black centurions. Yeah, no, that actually happened. The Romans would conquer all over that part of the world, including places where people were black, and one of their strategies was to not have people fighting their own race, so they would have black people going up into Europe to fight their battles. I don't want to digress off on that, but there is a really rich reality in history of women and minorities doing amazing things in amazing places during amazing times. And Hollywood doesn't touch this stuff. Why? Why is that? Why is that? Why do they gotta make fictional stuff? An American grandmaster, female grandmasters, didn't even exist. Why do that? Why? What's with the fiction? Maybe that's another type of backdoor messaging. I'll let you read into that what you will, but I'm telling you, it's important to always do some kind of content analysis when you're watching TV and movies. No, James, I just want to turn off my brain and have a good time. Okay, well, that's when they're going to get you. That's the tactic. That's not conspiratorial. That's the tactic. The CIA knew this during the Cold War. That's why they had Project Mockingbird. It wasn't just manipulating news stories. It was also telling movie directors, hey, could you write this into that movie? Could you just insert this? Just present this. This little message, that little message. Under that Songbird trailer, I commented, hey, look up Project Mockingbird, now think again about what the agenda is behind this movie. And somebody writes back, Mockingbird was during the Cold War, and it ended, after the Cold War or during the Cold War, so I don't even know what you're trying to say. Okay, dummy, use your fucking brain. If the intelligence community used the media to secret messages into TV shows and movies and not so secretly into newspapers, you think they stopped doing that? Do you think the intelligence community gets less money now than they did back then? You think because the Cold War is over, they don't still have agendas that they want to promote? You think that they would keep calling it Mockingbird and not change the name, the simplest thing in the world to do? You're gonna learn about this by looking it up on Google, which is itself being manipulated by people. Maybe not just the intelligence community, yeah, the deep state, other bad actors. It's weird that movie is called Songbird. Mockingbird, Songbird. Anyways, it's another one of those things where it's like they're kind of fucking with you. Oh, you people that actually notice things? Here, take this and run with it. It'll sound totally crazy. The Great Reset? Okay, guys, conspiracy theory. I mean, it's amazing how, on the one hand, they call it a conspiracy theory, but on the other hand, they openly talk about it and use the exact same word. We're practicing our doublethink here, folks. Practice your doublethink. I think that's another thing that gets secreted in, or that's another outcome. On the one hand, you can be a conservative and have certain beliefs, but then somehow these weird other things work their way into your psyche. And I talk to friends and stuff, and I figure they're conservatives like me and critical thinkers. Then every once in a while, they'll just spit something out where I'm like, wait, what? What did you just say? Well, yeah, I mean, that's obvious, though. We can all agree on that. We can all agree that the world is overpopulated. We can all agree that the environment is in danger. Hold on, slow your roll, hold on. This whole fallacy about carbon. Carbon monoxide or dioxide? Hey, people who grow weed have known for a long time that if you actually put CO2 into your grow room, the plants grow faster. I don't even want to get into how crazy it is. So much of this stuff makes no sense, and yet people still somehow accept that it's true, that the world is overpopulated, that a vaccine is probably going to solve most of our problems, and yeah, I know there's questions around vaccines and things, but anyways, you know what? You can put your faith, unfortunately, I guess this is what Trump has done, and I'm going to go ahead and call out Trump and the Trump administration. What the fuck? I've been sitting on my exercise bike while watching live streaming stuff that happens in the middle of the day. And I sit down on my bike yesterday. I'm like, hey, Kayleigh McEnany, she's going to come out and say something. White House press secretary. I love her. Beautiful. Oh, I love her. Oh, we've almost got the vaccine, and thanks to the Trump administration. I'm like, oh, shit. Now this is a big disappointment. Real vaccines. Scientism. Techno-fetishism. We've had this foisted upon us. We've had it slipped in the back door and the front door, through the media, through the news. If we just get the vaccine, we'll be okay. We'll have the vaccine. We've been working on the vaccine the whole time. We're really rushing it through. It's going through really fast. Oh, guys, do you think a vaccine is something you want to rush? So it is important. I know you want to just have a good time and turn off your brain. Keep it going at least a little bit in the back, because otherwise they're going to get you, and they have gotten you. You're going to have to do a little bit of revision and go back and question things that you already accept. Another thing I wanted to mention about Agora, right? So atrocities in the name of religion, atrocities in the name of Christianity. Sure, that happened. You know what else happened? Atrocities in the name of science. What do you think eugenics is? Eugenics is a science, quote unquote. It's scientism. It's a perversion of science, but that still doesn't mean it isn't science in the minds of the people who practice it. And to this day, the elite are influenced by eugenicists of the past. If you have access to academic journals, old ones, and most of you at university do have access to this, go look it up. Go find some of these thought leaders in eugenics. Read some of their papers. It's so much jargon and gobbledygook. They've really put a thick veneer of science over top what is actually poison. And it is poison. You get this Schwab guy and the technocrats, the Zuckerbergs, the Gates, especially Gates. I'm not so sure about Zuckerberg with eugenics, but definitely Gates. These other elites, they pretend to be so liberal and progressive and trying to help people out, but they also have some really sick beliefs and idealize some really sick people. Horrible things have been done in the name of science. And do you think maybe that might be happening again? I keep trying to tell people to watch Utopia. UK, please don't watch the remake, even if you think the remake is good or looks pretty good. The fact that they remade Utopia really drives me nuts, because I think Utopia, the original one, is a masterpiece. And here's the thing, I started watching it blind. I didn't know that it was about any of the things that I just talked about in this video. I didn't know it was about any of that stuff. Things that I've talked about on this channel for ages. I saw a trailer, I don't even think it's an official trailer, but I saw it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so stylish and visceral, and I love the music and the saturated color grading, and I just love stylish stuff like this. For me, that's the sort of thing where I quote-unquote turn off my brain and enjoy it, like Train Spotting, you know, the 300, things like that. So I said, I'm just gonna watch this. Oh, it's not on Amazon, not in Canada. I think it is in America, the original one. Don't watch the fucking remake. But anyways, I pirated Utopia, the UK one. 7 years ago it came out. First, and the opening scene just, oh my god, it's fucking beautiful and visceral and bleak, and I love it. So stylish, so good. So I kept watching, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then the plot points start coming out. I'm like, wait a minute. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's gotten to this point where I can only get people to watch it by spoiling it. Then I spoil it. I'm like, holy shit, it's about all that stuff? Holy shit, I better watch it. Actually, no, usually it's more like, oh, I guess I'll watch it. Anyway, it's frustrating to me that something is so fucking brilliant, and people won't bother watching it maybe because you have a hard time with the accents or something. And not just brilliant, but predictive. It's predictive programming. And I was telling a friend, I think there's 2 types of predictive programming. There's stuff like Contagion and that Songbird thing and other things where it's manipulated, it's being done in order to present an idea, to put some things in your head so that when they actually happen, you're more willing to accept them. And things like that. It's a kind of counterintelligence, intelligence thing. That's a kind of predictive programming. But then there's the other kind, where somebody who knew a lot about some topic, or maybe a lot about conspiracy theories, or maybe doesn't even know that they know, but it's in the back of their head. Again, there's this backdoor stuff. Intelligent people like us always have this going on, where they just postulate something, guess at something. Well, this might be an interesting story. Let's write this thing about this virus. That's the other kind of predictive programming, where you're getting into this more weird, are we tapping into the ether, the Akashic record, or just that there is a huge store of information in the back of your consciousness and your subconsciousness that you do not consciously parse out and analyze. But it's happening for those of us who are collative thinkers. It's happening in the background. Maybe you'll wake up with an idea. It works, this spooky kind of predictive programming, not this spook intelligence agency type of predictive programming. It works its way into an episode of The Simpsons, you know? Or there's movies where it's like, what? How did they, what? That actually ended up happening. Utopia is like that, but in such a profound way. Anyways, I know if you don't want to watch it, you're not going to watch it. If you don't know how to find stuff that's not online streaming, then you won't find it. It's too bad, because then they remade it, and see, now there's another thing. They remade it, an American version, and they omitted a lot of stuff. Yeah, and the writing, I could tell. I mean, I tried to watch 20 minutes of the American one, and it's over the head, all this exposition. I got shot, she shot me, oh my gosh, she bit me, oh, I'm upset right now. Or fucking, you know, you see this character painting grass green, and then she goes off on a Greta Thunberg-inspired rant, and I'm like, I'm not watching this. The British one didn't do any of that. I like stuff that doesn't insult your intelligence. I like stuff that doesn't hit you over the head with your plot points, with the plot points. I don't like stuff that seems to be designed for people who are stoned out of their mind or watching on their phone. Not that there's anything wrong with smoking weed. I mean, I know people who smoke weed and are very analytic and intelligent. It even seems to help them. But we're living in a society now where they're trying to break our spirit. That's what the lockdowns are about, by the way. That's why the rules are incoherent. It's not about safety, it's about breaking our spirit and breaking our minds. You break somebody's spirit, they stop thinking for themselves and they just lay back and accept bullshit. The Utopia remake felt like that to me, so after 20 minutes I had to stop watching it. This is insulting to my intelligence. It's all spelt out, and what they're spelling out is not what the British one would have spelled out. It lets you think for yourself. Anyways, Utopia came out in 2013. If you do manage to watch it, and I don't understand why you wouldn't even after just watching the first opening scene. No offense, millennials, but I've definitely noticed, and maybe this ties in with vaccines, the vast majority of people who I meet under the age of 30, maybe even under the age of 35, the vast majority seem to be somewhere on the spectrum, where they don't have this visceral reaction to things that are really stylish and well done. I'm not the only person who thinks Utopia is beautiful and the soundtrack is amazing because it won international awards. Okay, not Grammys and Oscars, right? But anyways. I was watching Humpty Dumpty Dougie Ford yesterday. looking there all poopy pants and sad. Oh, it's my birthday, guys, but I have to announce. Oh, shut the fuck up, it's your birthday. I liked how Brian Lilly came on the phone and was like, yeah, Doug, happy birthday. I'm sure you didn't want to announce this today. He's like, yeah, no, I didn't, Brian. We didn't want to hear this today either, Doug. It's like, oh, yeah, fucking douche. A city TV reporter called in, and in the background, her daughter yells and says, how come I can go to school, but I'm not allowed to have a friend over after school? I can't have one friend over after school, but I have to go to school? Teenagers, man. Yeah, she brings up an excellent point. An excellent point. Where's the logic in that? Right? And the funny thing is they couldn't really answer her. It was just a bunch of gobbledygook non-answers. Yeah, I know it's really hard right now, I know, but your generation, we really look to you. You're on social media. You can really use computers. What the fuck are you talking about? Answer her question. Where's the logic? There's no logic. It's about, the logic is breaking their spirit. Go in, be a number, be surrounded by people, but you can't get closer to them and talk to them when you're going through puberty. What a nightmare that must be. We know how important socialization is for young people. I've met some people who were homeschooled, and they tended to be brilliant, but also really fucking weird and socially retarded. I don't want to digress. No offense to anybody who was homeschooled. What other choice would you have these days? But yeah, to force somebody, come in, be a number, sit down, do your work, and go home and be alone. I can't even have one friend over? No, this isn't about fun. This isn't about having a good time. This isn't about building relationships, having a healthy childhood. That's not what this is about. This is about us breaking your fucking will, little girl. They know. These kids know. They're gonna grow up so jaded and so cynical when it comes to authority. And if anything, that's a good thing, it is. The vast majority, especially of Canadians, are such fucking conformist sheep. People talking about, if the lockdowns worked the first time, then why are we doing them a second time? If they didn't work, then why are we doing them a second time? It's completely incoherent. No, they were a success. A success. At the people, the man, the elitists, the technocrats. It was an experiment, scientific method. Let's see, can we push them this far? Yes, we can. All right, next time, next fall, can we push them a bit farther? Yes, we can. Can we take away Thanksgiving? Yes, that worked. Push it a bit further and further and further to see how far they have to go to break our spirits. Not that far in Canada. No, a lot of people are really happy that Toronto is now in full lockdown. And again, so much of this stuff that we're willing to accept is because we've been pummeled with messages in the media and in the news. And I'm sorry, but you folks that just want to turn off your brain, or who are incapable or unwilling to be critical of the things being told to you, not just within the movie, not just the plot, but also when the movie or when the show was made in that context. That's another thing that makes Utopia UK so amazing that it came out 7 years ago. Anyways, if you're not willing to do this content analysis and meta-level content analysis, that's hard. I just want to take it easy. I'm gonna get a headache, man. Come on. You know what? The more you practice doing it, the less you have to think about doing it. Yeah, sounds kind of weird. I want you to be more conscious and mindful when you're consuming media. At the same time, if you do it enough, that good analytic process, that content analysis becomes second nature, and it's not hard anymore. They want us to be lazy about these things because it makes us easy to control. And atrocities will be committed in the name of science as they were in the past. Thanks a lot for clicking and watching. If you'd like to help me out with $1 or $2, I'd really appreciate it. As always, it's very useful. Another tight month for me. And I guess that's the continuing trend from here on out. Check out the link on the screen now and in the description below for my PayPal and Patreon and my other social media. And if not, click like and share and subscribe and comment, and we'll talk to you again real soon, folks. Bye-bye.